A fiery exchange between Washington Governor Jay Inslee and President Trump over arming teachers in America's classrooms. It came during a meeting with governors from around the country.
Now, I know that you have suggested arming our teachers. And
not your teachers.
Not your,
arming a small portion that are very gun adept, that truly know how to handle. Because I do feel, Governor, it's very important that gun-free zones, you have a gun-free zone, it's like an invitation for these very sick people to go there.
That educators should educate, and they should not be foisted upon this responsibility of packing heat in first grade classes. Now, I understand you have suggested this, and we suggest things, and sometimes then we listen to people about it, and maybe they don't look so good a little later. So I just suggest we need a little less tweeting here, a little more listening, and let's just take that off the table and move forward.
All right, thank you very much.
The president never responded directly to Governor Inslee during that meeting. Instead, he turned to the governor of Texas. President Trump said he did talk to the NRA over the weekend. The group rejected an idea to raise the legal age for buying guns, but backed the president's plan to arm teachers. Now, on the other side of Washington state, there's a handful of small public school districts already armed. One in particular is under the microscope as administrators work to prove it can be done safely. King 5's Greg Copeland has the story tonight from the Yakima Reservation.
Across the Cascades, 120 miles from Seattle, you'll find Toppenish. Population right about 9,000. That's where you'll also find they do things a little differently.
9mm.
For School Superintendent John Cerna, it all started with Sandy Hook. As he watched it unfold, he asked himself one question.
How are we going to keep our kids safe?
That set into motion a series of events that led to Toppenish becoming the first armed district in the state in 2014. Cerna is one of 19 administrators trained to conceal carry on campus, protecting the high school, the middle school, and 4 elementaries.
Obviously, it's a hot button topic. It's a lightning rod, and so to take that initial step from our district was bold.
Toppenish High Principal Sean Myers might be among the other 18 armed volunteers, but it's a well-kept secret. Myers grew up here, has 2 kids in the district, and says a lot of thought went into making the decision.
As an administrator, somebody that's in charge of this building and 950 kids, I want to be able to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to protect them.
It's fairly easy. We can teach most people how to shoot a gun. It's hard to teach people when not to shoot a gun.
John Ladinas is a former Washington State trooper with 15 years in law enforcement who worked with SWAT, teaching firearms and defensive tactics. He now trains school districts and companies how to deal with the threat of an active shooter.
We have to change the mindset from being victims to being protectors.
Do you think the concept of arming administrators or teachers can work in any school in this state?
I believe it can if they have the right personnel, and that's the big issue.
A lot of the training happens in the classroom, learning the law, when to engage, and what might happen if they do.
It's what it's like to potentially have to pull the trigger on anybody coming into the school, potentially even a student that they may know.
The district already contracts with a private security company with a very visible resource officer on every campus during school. This is an added layer of protection.
I'm not a cop. That's not my job. That's not my training. But I'm also not ignorant. And the world has changed, which means education has to evolve with it.
Because at the end of the day, his goal is to get everyone back home to their families. In Toppenish, Greg Copeland, King 5 News.